I just returned from a 2-week motorcycle adventure, camping off the Moto and going where I damn well pleased. The entire trip was less than 4,000 miles out to Oklahoma, then down through Texas, along the border, and finally down the Gulf Coast before returning home. The first stop was the Motorcycle Vagabond Rally in Oklahoma. I believe this was the fourth Vagabond Rally, the second in Oklahoma, and my third rally. I missed one while I was in Hawaii. I really enjoy the Vagabond rallies and want to talk more about vagabonds as I share my short adventure with you over the next few videos. But for now, let's get to Oklahoma to start the adventure. Well, getting a really late start as usual. There's nothing new about that. It's almost 10 o'clock, so traffic's calm. Weather is spectacular. Yeah, I like stormy weather. I don't like a whole lot of rain when I'm riding, but a little bit of rain is fine. On my way to Oklahoma, should be there before midnight, hopefully. 500 miles, I think. Yeah, looking forward to it now. As I left home, the sky was overcast. It was cool and just spitting a little bit of rain. No big deal. Perfect riding weather.
Just a little spray. No big deal.
As I rolled through Mississippi, the weather got a little bit colder and a little bit more damp, a little bit more water falling on me. But that was just a taste of what was to come. It wasn't until I got to Arkansas and Oklahoma that the really bad weather hit. But that is to be expected when you're traveling across country and you know what's coming. Only had one small navigational error. Led me down a back road, and I like back roads, but this one just continued to get more narrow and more narrow until I finally decided that I had taken a wrong turn. And it was probably my error in navigation. I use Google Maps a good bit because it tells me where to turn. And even though I've driven this route several times, I wound up in front of this little farm house, something in the middle of nowhere. I assume at some point this road probably turned to dirt. It's a good place to turn around and get a little bit of perspective. But once I got turned around, I got going back towards the rain and the wind and Arkansas. And buddy, let me tell you, it got windy. The rain wasn't so bad. The cold combined with a little bit of rain was bad, but once the wind started kicking up, once the sun went down, it got very windy, and decreased visibility with all this rain was just not, it took a lot of the fun out of the riding. And the really fun roads, the really twisty roads, were ridden in the dark with the animals and the rain and the wind. Tuskahoma, Oklahoma. Just got in about 10 o'clock last night. It was cold and wet and very, very, very windy. I opened one of my dry bags, that yellow dry bag over there, and all the extra clothes that I brought were wet. Almost all of them. I had one sweater that I'm wearing under here. And anyway, so I hung all that stuff out. The wind blew it dry last night. Everything except that shirt. It's cotton. Yeah. So this is the same spot I camped last year, but those trees. I'm missing my camping buddy back here, but maybe he'll show up today. Yeah, so hopefully I'll walk in here and maybe get some interviews today. I don't know who else is going to be willing to talk to me, but I'm going to go in here and hang out regardless, and we'll see what happens. So I did not film a lot of the nighttime insanity of the rally. I was too busy having fun, and I don't like having to ask everybody permission to post their insanity on the web. So I did wind up getting some pretty cool interviews with some folks that have been living on the road. This guy's 3 weeks out. Got another guy that's 3 months out, and another guy that's 4 years out, and they all have an interesting perspective and a method of how to live on their motorcycle. learning as they go. But I will post those individually coming up.
All right, my name is Gary Shannon. I'm from Weatherford, Texas. I ride a 2019 Street Bob, or as the Harley guys would call it, an FXBB, whatever that means to them. I've been doing that for 4 years. I might as well join somebody else. And, you know, I normally ride by myself because I can never find anybody else to ride with me. I mean, I'm retired government for, it was 30 years.
So I'm Garrett Peterson. I live on my 1990 FXR Lowrider Sport. I went on the road about 3.5 months ago, in the process of selling the rest of my shit off, and really doing it. So
Day 3 of the Vagabond Rally in Tuskahoma, Oklahoma. And as you can see, I've got a couple of campmates. Most everybody is on the other side of Chuck's. There may be close to 20 people over there. But this is the spot I camped down last time, and I like it. And as you can see, I've got my typical messy campsite set up, but I had this nice table, which I never have, almost never, unless I stay at a campground. Got this nice table to cook up some coffee. One of the girls works at Chuck's is bringing some breakfast, so we just walk around the other side once I get the coffee made. Hopefully she'll be here in a few minutes and have breakfast for us. Pretty excited about that. I did get a chance to try out in the field, finally try out the coffee filter. I tried it before I left home just to make sure that it was going to work. Works pretty daggum well, and it's collapsible. You just pour it in. Instead of trying to deal with the coffee filters, you really got to have some kind of a funnel or something to pour it in, and this acts as both a funnel and a filter. It does get a little bit clogged up sometimes, so you have to scrape the grounds off to let some of the water go through. But overall, I'm very satisfied with my my new coffee making apparatus, and wound up losing this coffee cup, this nice insulated cup, on the way back, but I had it for most of the trip. And after I finished brewing and dripping my coffee, I grabbed the coffee and walked around into Chuck's main gathering area and enjoyed some breakfast, fresh beer, batter, biscuits, and gravy. Man, delicious. First of 2 mornings, they made breakfast for us, which cannot be beat. Alright, I'm packed up and ready to roll out. So wound up rolling out early Sunday morning after some coffee, and picked up the long way around. The gate was still closed, so I went around to the area where most of the rally attendees were camping to see if Scott was ready to go. One of the guys I met, Scott, he'd been on his bike for 3 weeks at this point. He seemed interested in tagging along with me riding south to Del Rio, see what was going on down there. So I rolled around here to see if he was ready, packed up and ready to go, and rolled through the campsite. The rest of the rally crew said goodbye to a few of the folks that were rolling out of bed, at least. I feel like I made a pretty good choice camping where I did, even though the majority of people were over here. It was muddy when I got here, and a few people were complaining about the mud. I knew about the mud, that's why I didn't go over there. But not just that, it seemed like there was more opportunity for trees where I was at, and that may or may not have been true. I could have found a better spot. Just getting in and getting out of muddy spots with this big heavy bike and street tires is just not something that I look forward to ever. You can see there's a good bit of camping over here. Well, I'm trying. And just roll through the backside here and up to where Scott was waiting, and Also, asked Gary what he was up to since he was leaving out at the same time. Wound up inviting him to roll out with us, which turned out to be a pretty good idea because Gary has a place to stay about halfway where we were going at that time. Word. Where are you headed to, Homer? Yeah.
I'm heading back towards Fort Worth, going down south.
Oh, you're riding with us then?
I guess if you're going south.
Fuck yeah, man. Going south. I mean, you got somewhere to be, or you just?
I'm just going back to the house.
You don't have any. So the Three Musketeers rolled out while the sun was still coming up, and Gary led us down because he knew where we were going. I had no internet, therefore I couldn't figure out a route, or at least a competent route. I'm pretty good at getting lost even with GPS. So, but Gary led us down to his town, or just west of Dallas, Fort Worth, and seemed like it was a perfect fit. It's a great day to ride. Nice, easy, relaxing ride to Weatherford, and wound up staying outside in his yard since his place was kind of tight and his son was coming in. Scott had planned to stay inside, but since his son was coming in that evening, Scott wound up grabbing a hotel for a few days, and I wound up getting up the next morning, riding into Fort Worth to pick up a tire for my motorcycle. But that video is next time. Check that out if you haven't subscribed already. Make sure you do that, and hit that notification bell so you know when the next videos come out, especially if you're interested in seeing these profiles, these interviews with these vagabonds, these nomads that are attempting to live on their motorcycle. Pretty interesting stories, and I only got a piece of it, so hope to see you in the next video.